I just got dropped off at the road closure here at the south end of McCloud Lake, where I left off before I left because of health issues, and then ended up going down to the Sierras and everything. So I'm back here to start the trail again, and at this point I'm not peeing blood. That's good. Hopefully that doesn't come back again, but who knows. I'm not in the Sierras, so the trail should not be anywhere near as rough, so maybe my body will like it better. The irony is, I don't normally have any kind of back issue, but after I got off the trail and got back to Redding, I did something to my lower back, and it hurts really bad. I have trouble putting my shoes and socks on right now because my lower back is seizing up. I did something to it. I don't know what it is, but it certainly doesn't feel good when I'm going from sitting to standing or vice versa. And it doesn't necessarily feel good to wear a pack because the pack sits right where the muscle hurts in my lower back. And so it's kind of hurting just walking down the road here. But maybe the hiking will work it out and I will feel better and won't be a problem. But time to go finish out Northern California and move on to Oregon. So I'll get down to I-5 sometime tomorrow and then head on up into Castle Crags and make my way toward Etna, which will be my next town to get a resupply in. Water levels look like they're a little bit lower in the lake than when I last was here, and I think Oregon will be a little bit drier. But good to be back out and working on the trail some more. After all I've hiked through, some of the worst swarms of insects I've seen are right now. They are these swarms of black bugs, and I don't think they're flies. Mosquitoes. I think there's some kind of weird little black fly or something, but they all want to get in my eyeballs for whatever reason, which is not a good place for them to be. So I think I better double time hike and get away from them, or I'll pull up my bug net, or both. Get out of my eyes, bugs. I really don't know what their obsession with my eyes is, but they're just constantly trying to get in them. It can't be moisture because there's an entire McCloud River down there that they could drink to their heart's content. So I really don't know what it is, but they can't beat the bug net. They're swarming around me still, but not getting in my eyes. Love this thing. Good investment. Well, this is easy trail. My back is killing me, and they're, a rock or a piece of wood or something every so often to trip over, and normally that's just really annoying. But right now, when I trip over one of those, it's like someone's sticking an ice pick in my back, which takes your breath away, and it's not real great. So I'm hoping that this walking works things out and I don't have to deal with this pain for a long time because it's somewhat vexing. Got up early and hit the trail, and now I'm about 2.5 miles from I-5. I'll probably have lunch around there because the Sacramento River flows by there, and I can get some water. It'll be about lunchtime when I get there. Finally finishing this segment out. And then I get to go into the overpass and keep heading on up Castle Crags and working on finishing California. Don't have too many days left and I will be done with California. So that is a massive achievement just by itself, let alone do anything else. The bug net, absolutely necessary here. Those little flying bugs, whatever they are, follow you down the trail. Mosquitoes I can handle. As long as you stay moving, you pretty much lose them. It's just when you stop that they're a problem. But as long as you're going down the trail, you're fine. These little flying bugs will stick with you for a mile or more, just flying around you, and they keep pace with you and fly around you and try to get your eyes. I'm convinced that they just want to pluck my eyes out of my head now, because even with the bug net on my face, they like to land right over my eyes, right in front of my eyes. So they're going for the eyes. They know they're there and they want to land on them for whatever reason. So that makes them the most annoying bugs of the trail. Keep thinking one of these lizards or something, maybe he could just like hang out on my shoulder and help me out eating the bugs, but they don't want to help. That was nice of someone to leave some trail magic. Took one for the road. Decided I could have that with lunch. That'll be pretty tasty. I'm almost to the road. Speaking of that, this is one of those places where the PCT turns from trail to road, which I actually kind of like. It's an interesting change. It barely even registered, but I passed the 1,500 mile mark. Figure 500 mile marks are good now, because 50s and 100s, you're supposed to be doing those a lot more often, but that's pretty cool. Past few towns, I have been working to try to find the leak in my air mattress. And I looked in Mammoth Lakes and I couldn't find it. When I got to Redding, I finally had an opportunity to get some soap and paint the whole thing with soap and look for air bubbles. I did both sides once, couldn't find it. Finally found the leak on the second go through and patched it. So I was hoping that was the leak and not a leak, but it seemed to be getting flatter last night, unfortunately. So maybe there was another one. I don't know. But hopefully it was just a thermal difference as it got colder. But I have a feeling there's another leak in there somewhere, which is unfortunate because I was hoping to end the re-inflate 4 or 5 times a night routine, especially with my back hurting the way it is. It's not fun to hop out of bed, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is. When I was near I-5, I had internet, so while I ate lunch, it gave me an opportunity to look up why the insect's going for my eyes. And apparently it's quite common, and there are lots of flies and gnats and stuff that like to do it. Apparently they call them tear sucking. I forget the technical term, but they like to get the proteins out of the liquids in your eyes, so they come up there and suck your tears directly off your eyeballs. Now, unsurprisingly, that is a spread of disease, so that's not a fun thing. So I'll continue to wear my bug net when they're around because I don't need them sucking my tears. In addition to it being hotter, the water sources are spread a little farther out now, which I don't really have a problem because they're like 8 to 11 miles approximately apart, which is totally doable. But what's less fun is having to go off trail for them. I'm having to go down this fairly steep grade, which means I get to come back up this fairly steep grade to go find water. The last comment on Gut Hook was a while back, so hopefully the source is still flowing, or I'm coming down here for nothing. But I definitely could use some more water now. The next source is like 3 miles away, and it's a little warm for that, so if I have to do it, I'll do it, but hopefully there's water down here. Not only was there water, it's nice and cold, which is a big bonus on a hot day. I thought the clouds yesterday were starting to look a little rainy, but last night was certainly noisy. I thought, no, that can't be rain. It was not. It was hail. Luckily that stopped after a while because I was concerned, like, how big are the hailstones going to get? I don't want my tent collapsing here, but it rained a good portion of the night, but the wind that's so chilly this morning was kind of nice because it dried out my tent. So when I got up this morning, the wind had dried it off for me and I didn't have to deal with a wet tent. So, hey, bonus. But I've got my raincoat on now as a windbreaker because it's a little chilly. I'm sure I'll take it off later as it starts to heat up. The clouds look like they're dispersing, so I don't think it's going to rain on me again. But definitely feels like the weather's starting to change. It's really pretty overcast today and rather windy. It would not surprise me if I got more rain. That wind. As I was saying, before the wind came in, I got a little shield behind the tree here. It wouldn't surprise me if I got a bout of more rain tonight. We'll see. I believe I'm in Trinity County now because I'm almost north of Trinity Lake. I've spent a lot of time in Trinity County, but I've never hiked the trails in there, so this will be kind of interesting. I'll be crossing a road here in probably 10 miles that I've driven on, but other than that, it's all new to me. That doesn't look good, especially with all this wind. Well, hopefully it's nothing big or it's under control. Well, there are actually a couple fires across the valley from me. I had some cell reception, so I called 911 to report it. And they said they're aware of them and the Forest Service is already there. So that's a good thing. With the wind the way it is, something like that could move in various directions pretty quickly. So I'm glad they're all over it. Don't want to wake up and run from flames or anything. I actually found a good campsite to stay at for tonight. It's got mountain summit and it has picnic tables and good places to set up and fire pit I won't use, but it has a bathroom. Unfortunately no running water, but I grabbed some at the last fill up I could up the mountain and brought a whole bunch down with me, so I should be good for the night. But good to be able to sit at a table and eat dinner tonight. I stopped a little early today, like 6 p.m. I've been trying to hike till 7:30. But my feet have been killing me. Hopefully they'll get a little bit better. My back seems to have improved probably about 80%. The last 20% still keeps holding on, but at least I'm not having that take your breath away pain when I try to move from one position to the other. So it's more just dull soreness now, which I can deal with. I hope that goes away too, but you know, it's not the same thing as not wanting to breathe when you move. But this is a good site to rest my feet. I've got them up on the park bench here, so they can relax, and then I'll get some good rest tonight before I head on. I'm about 2 days away from Etna, and then I'll go into town and get some resupply. Might be cutting it close on my food this time, but it won't be too bad. I've only run out once. Hopefully I don't run out again. It's kind of smoky this morning. Once I got high enough on this hill, I checked and could see that there was still some smoke from at least one of the fires. I can only see one of them, but it looks like it's kind of tailing off. Pretty smoky all over the valley here on both sides, but it doesn't surprise me. The wind's pretty strong here this morning, starting to whip up. I'm in the trees, so it's not too bad right here, but that tends to blow the smoke around, so I'm not surprised to see that. But I'm glad I'm seeing that and not flames leaping up, so that's good. Still a little chilly. This wind's pretty cold. Ended up wearing my rain jacket for a while until getting up this hill, and then didn't need that anymore. But pretty forest. I'd forgotten how much I like the forest around Trinity area. So nice to hike in. Nice to have crossed Highway 3. I've driven across the PCT and I didn't even know it. So nothing special there, but you know, kind of cool to see someplace you've been before. Now to continue on to Etna, another place I've been before, but decades ago. So it's been a long time. It'd be good to see it again and get some food. I've been hearing the cowbells a whole bunch again, and of course seeing the cow evidence on the trail, but I didn't see where they were. And I came around this corner and there were cows up here on the mountain, and then they just sailed over the edge. And looking over here, I don't see any dead cows, but they must have gone downhill. They're a lot more nimble than I am, apparently. Kind of amazing. Fast cows. I don't know why they're so frightened of me though, but at least they're not charging me. Even with the smoke, the Trinity Alps are still really beautiful. Be nice to see them without smoke, but they're still pretty. I remember having been through the Trinity Alps driving back when I used to work around Trinity County a lot. I remember later when I went to Europe and I was taking a train through the Swiss Alps, remarking at how they reminded me of the Trinity Alps, and that's when it hit me. Okay, maybe that's where the name came from. I don't know if that's where it came from, but there certainly were some overlaps there with the trees and green fields and things like that. So it's really pretty up here. It's been kind of nice to hike through. I'm just putting on some podcasts and going. It's pretty relaxing. A lot more relaxing than the Sierras, I'll tell you that much. Got up at 4:30 this morning so I could get a early start into town. Want to make sure that I have enough time today to do chores because I don't want to be doing them tomorrow. Laundry, etc., and food. I'm definitely due for a hot meal. I cut my food a little short this time, I think, and literally just ate the last of my food. So maybe that's a good thing to come into town and have finished it all, but I like to have more of a buffer than that. Plus I wanted to eat more last night and I really needed to save it for today, so I didn't. So looking forward to eating something. I kind of scoped out the restaurants in my app to see what was there, and they've got a number of them, so that's a good thing. It's been pretty overcast and a little chilly, which works for some of the hills I've been going up. They had a really steep one that slowed me down. I've noticed though, ever since leaving the Sierras, that it seems to be my legs that are the limiting factor. I can go up a steep hill and I often am not breathing hard. I'm pretty much having regular breath, but my legs may get tired and slow down. So that's kind of an interesting feeling that it's not me gasping, and maybe that's just the Sierras conditioned me a little bit better, or just doing additional miles, I don't know. But kind of an interesting feeling. This section's kind of burned, kind of really burned. It's kind of interesting with the overcast day. But I think I'm about 8 miles away from town. Hopefully I can knock that out pretty quickly, and hopefully I can get a quick hitch. Seen some comments people said about waiting 40 minutes for a hitch, which isn't the worst, but I'd rather only wait 5. I made it down to the road. There are a couple cars here, but no one around. Made up a sign, and I get to look at the nice view while I wait for a car to come by. Hopefully someone will come by soon and I'll get an easy hitch into town, but who knows. Doesn't seem very busy right now. I made it here. I waited an hour and a half and couldn't find any cars that came by. Well, there were a couple, but they went the long way. Finally, a guy and his son, I guess, had gone out camping for the night and were coming back to the trailhead, and I got a ride from them. It was super nice of them. So I'm in Etna now, and I'm gonna go see about getting a hotel room.